A shot dies in a minute. This is an old folklore from our friends and overlords at Starbucks. But one man is challenging that, and he's building the cafe of the future. I'm talking about fully automated espresso machines, pre-batching espresso so that it comes out of a tap. 100% efficiency, 100% delicious. This is the idea behind Beta Coffee, where everything is a test. We'll talk about what that means for quality, what it means for hospitality, and what it means to build the cafe of the future. Today we have the man behind it all, Chris Maybury, joining us live on the pod.
So good to be here, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. And as you all know, I'm your co-host, Rowan Cook. I make coffee on the internet.
I'm Sonam Sherpa, and I pull the strings behind the scenes, and I'm back.
Welcome
One more time.
Welcome to It's Just Coffee.
It's just coffee.
The podcast for people who know it's never just coffee. And don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors, Apex Lab. Elevate your coffee experience with Apex Lab mineral concentrates. Apex Lab's precision-engineered formulas, including tonic, jam, and lilac, are designed to enhance the coffee's natural flavors. Not going to change it, it's just going to enhance it. It's going to bring out the vibrant acidity, the rich sweetness, or if you use lilac, it might bring out those delicate floral notes that you've been looking for. Trusted by world-class cafes and even barista champions, Apex Lab helps you unlock your coffee's full potential. Discover more at apexlab.com. Wait, where was that again, Sonam?
The internet.
Oh, okay. Thought I was going to say the website. Thanks. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors at Eco Barista. The reason I sound like this is because they got massages at our stand at Mice, and so I'm getting a massage while recording this message for you. They're the best sponsor of the pod that we could have had. They have the best eco products. This probably sounds really pornographic, but it's not. I'm just getting a massage. They have the best eco-friendly coffee products. They got coffee bags that you can design yourself. They got cups. They got iced coffee cups. They got everything you need. So make sure to support them because they support us. Head to ecobarista.com.au and get 15% off your first purchase when you sign up. Oh, mama, that's good. Chris, oh boy, am I glad we got you on. I gave you a little ding-a-ling on the phone 4 or 5 days ago, and you were like, I'll do it. I'll be there. And let me just point out, Beta Coffee isn't even open yet. It's opening in 3 days. By the time this pod comes out, we'll be opening up. But this man is putting everything on hold so he can be with us today. Thank you for taking the time, man. We appreciate it.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, we have to start out by saying, Ben, we love you, but he's off
Always.
Q grading, so he couldn't be with us here today.
Love you, Ben.
The final Q grading course too. So
it is the final
enough,
Q grading course, and we'll talk about this a bit more in the pod. I've got it lined up, but you actually did your Q grading with Ben.
With Ben, yes.
Connected,
it was the best experience ever, and I'm so sad that it may be changing. But look, maybe it's another chance to re-up with Ben in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
Wondering.
He'll be there, but we've tackled the whole issue of Q grading in an episode 2 weeks ago. We didn't need to dive into that mess again. Now, first off, the most important question, what's your go-to coffee? What are you drinking?
Look, guys, whenever I walk into a cafe, I just ask to the barista, what are you excited about? That's what I want.
Can I say I do the exact same thing, and I do it in restaurants, and 90% of the people, there's occasionally they'll love it, but 90% of people hate it, and they're just like, depends what you want. I'm like, no, I want whatever you want. I just want you to give me what you're excited about. And they're like, well, do you like milk? I'm like, whatever, just make it.
They just freeze up, don't they?
Yeah.
Look, I have the same, occurrence at cafes quite often, but I just kind of go for it. I'm like, look, black, white, doesn't matter. I love it all. Just anything that you're excited about. If they're like, I don't know, our coffee's good.
It's good.
One of those, please.
One of them. Perfect.
I'll get a Pooka tea, thanks.
That's it.
Now, we're going to dive into, you're changing the game of cafes quite a lot. This feels quite revolutionary in what's happening. But before we get into all that, before we get into pre-batching espresso, I want to ask you what led you to this point. Is it just the constant want to innovate, or was the system broken, and what did you see?
I mean, look, more than the system, it's probably just my brain. I was always that kid growing up who was that annoying kid in class, like, why? And then, when Google got invented, my parents and teachers were like, oh, thank God, just ask Google. And so I was just like, why? And I just have this infinite curiosity. Everything's interesting. Like there was a time I was on an audiobook binge and the reference in that book was about soil science. And I was like, that sounds interesting. So then, a month later, I'm 3 books deep into soil science. I'm like, wait, where am I? What am I doing? Well, I don't even know the nematode count in the soil. I'm a barista. Anyway, so everything's fascinating to me. But yeah, so it really is more a me issue.
Did you ever take that soil knowledge and put it towards growing coffee beans? Was there any knowledge that was imparted towards farmers?
Look, not yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was something in the future that lined up. So we'll see.
From the way now, is there anything from how you're setting up that you wanted to change from the cafe system as it is now and hospitality is now? Like, were there certain things that you were like, this needs to be better, this needs to be more efficient?
Yeah. Look, I think it comes from multiple moments, but like when I first started in coffee almost 20 years ago now, I didn't even like coffee, but I slowly got into it and had my first specialty coffee experience, Ethiopian Sidamo from Madcap. And it was just like unbelievable, like a field of wild dancing blueberries. It was incredible. But if I was just going to be like a coffee nerd, I would be like a high-powered lawyer, with a killer home setup. But I think the thing that really captured me were these moments at the cafe where like one time a regular came in and he was looking a little down. So I brought a cookie to his table. I was like, hope you have a good day. And then he kind of got teared up and he's like, hey, that really meant a lot. Thank you. I was like, oh, no, where's just a cookie? But I turned around and I just remember being like, I want to do that for the rest of my life. I want to have like find 10,000 little moments in a day to make someone feel seen, known, and loved and valued and make the day a little better. And so I think that like all these little moments of hospitality and all these fun moments in coffee where I discovered this new tasting note or what another level of what coffee could be. I think those are things that hooked me in. And so, but as I've kind of grown in the industry, I found that a lot of those moments actually get brushed aside, not because anyone doesn't want them, but just because we're under the pump, or the barista is not experienced, or whatever it might be, So I think I'm trying to recapture all those little moments along the way and make a space where they can always happen, and they're the priority.
Right. That's so interesting. So, do you automation is kind of driving hospitality and human connection at its heart? So, even though it's something very technical, it's still got a human belief at the heart of it.
100%.
Yeah, so it's freeing you up to have all those moments, which is beautiful. And I echo the sentiment about what you're saying. Like I remember when I used to own cafes back in the day, it was all about those connections with people. You'll never feel more popular. You'll never be part of a greater community when you're at the center of a community through a cafe. And it sounds like, Chris, you're really going for it. So could you please tell us more about Beta Coffee in terms of the name and also where it is, what you're doing to build it, and just the elevator pitch, really?
Yeah, absolutely. So Beta Coffee kind of came from this idea of that I was working kind of for other people. I would have all these ideas that, they probably weren't, financially viable, or they weren't thought through, and like, so all my old bosses would kind of just be like, well, if you don't know how it's going to come out, like, let's just kind of keep doing what we're doing because it's working. But my mind infinitely curious. I'm like, I just want to try. I just want to try things. I just want to experiment. And I think that kind of language, I just want to try. And I know that half my ideas are probably bad ideas and they won't work, but I just need like a space to try. And so that became like, I just need a place to beta test all my ideas. So then Beta Coffee kind of came about just for that kind of ethos of perpetual innovation. And then I was like, but I don't want it to be just me. Because I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that have great ideas, but don't have like the space where they can try them out. And so I'm like, I want to create like a Silicon Valley of coffee community where like everyone can come and just try things in our space. Like, and if they don't work, we're not going to keep doing them. But like, at least let's try. And who knows, we could have an iPhone moment for coffee just in little Surrey Hills in Sydney.
So how are you facilitating that? Is that through the design of the cafe or?
Well, it's through lots of things. I mean, one of the beautiful things about the space itself is it was actually a house originally. So it's kind of a fun, funky architecture. It's not just like open plan. It's like got these little pockets. So you've got the kind of front area, then a long hallway, and then this back open alfresco area, and then a garage. It's like a proper like Melbourne or Surrey Hills garage, open onto an alleyway. And so you got all these fun spaces where you can kind of create and facilitate spaces of connection, of ideas, of people coming together and just dreaming. We also have like a full commercial kitchen. And so I'm like, I don't know anything about cooking or baking, but like I want the chefs who have ideas that they just want to try out that they can't, like maybe they're not the head chef. So then, well, hey, come use my kitchen, come try it out. And if it's great, it'll be great for everyone. So I think it's just like, I just want to create a platform in all of my spaces to just elevate the community in Sydney, whether it's the hospital community, local artists, bakers, chefs, you name it.
They're just confirming it's in Sydney, Australia, in Surrey Hills. Is that right?
Oh, true that. Yeah. 76 Devonshire Street, as a matter of fact.
Oh, get on down. There it is. So Starbucks started this myth a while ago that an espresso shot dies in 1 minute. But at your cafe, you're going to be pre-batching all of the espresso that's going to be served with milk-based drinks, so both hot and cold milk-based drinks. What are you doing so that it's not losing the quality and degrading over time? Because I think the general consensus or thought would be that after you pull a shot of espresso, it begins to oxidize, it begins to degrade and lose its flavor characteristics.
Yes. So that is 100% what we're doing. Again, this is just a test and I haven't opened yet. So I don't know if it's going to fully work. But the idea, it's kind of like I've committed to this vision for the sake of hospitality. So currently, just bring me back if I get off track, but just I want to free coffee professionals from having to focus on every shot and every drink. And I just want them to be able to prioritize, focus on the customer connections, these moments with customers, whether it's sitting down for a moment, sharing an espresso, or remembering their name or the drink, or just like petting their dog or anything. Like I want to prioritize those moments. I don't want them to be distracted with the preparing of the drinks. I want it to be prepared ahead of time. And so I've committed to like this approach because I'm like, no, I can't do, it's 2025. Like you don't see people on the assembly line at auto plants with wrenches, and their little tool kits and everything. It's like people walking around with iPads, watching machines do their thing, making sure it's all good. Like we've been doing the coffee, like running cafes the same way since 20 years ago, at least, where it's like, there's a line out the door. There's 2 or 3 baristas on the milk, getting steamed, these massive pitchers. It's like, it's all hands on deck. It's chaos. And it's like, there's no actual time for hospitality unless you employ tons of people. But then like in Sydney, how can you do that? So it's just, we want to be able to have cafes run profitably, but have space for like incredible hospitality. So in my view, like the pump, where the line out the door and we're just like having to get all these shots out, like that's got to go. It has to be the past because in that space is a lack of hospitality. In that space is where espressos are, mispulled, but then we feel the pressure to just serve them anyway because everyone needs their coffee now, and the dockets are piling up. The old scene of the bear where it's like cha-ching, 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 and the stress level is rising. And I just want a calm, beautiful, welcoming space where what the customer walks into is oh, hey, good morning. Good to see you. Coffee? 100%. Yeah, and like that atmosphere where they're known and it's peaceful and lovely and beautiful. But I can't see that future with the way we're currently operating. And I think cafes in Sydney especially, look, if your volume is low, you could totally operate like that. But in Sydney, you can't, you can't have a low volume. You have to be pumping, like just to make rent. Like, so I can't see a viable future where hospitality is in this golden age with the way we've been doing things for the last 20 years.
That's a very valid statement, Chris. And I think also to get this to happen and to make it all happen, you've obviously undertaken a lot of research with both the Eversys and the Uber Milk systems. Could you tell us a bit more about the research behind those two, how you've got it to the point you've got to? Obviously, you're about to open, as of recording the podcast. We'll definitely touch back with you in the coming months or weeks, and we'll hear more about the results. But just tell us how you've gotten to the point you've gotten to.
In my testing, I came up against, like, Rowan, you were saying, like, all these theories that after 30 seconds or after a minute, the shot's dead, or, all that stuff. And I think part of it was back in the day, 20 years ago, we were just using really bad coffee. And so as it cooled, we were just getting the true taste. And we're like, oh, it's dead. It's gone bad. But no, we were just using bad coffee. But nowadays, when good coffee is readily available, I think like oxidation still is a legitimate concern, and it does cause undesirable attributes in the coffee. So it's something I really have to think about and look at. But like I said, I've committed to it, so I'm just going to find a way. I have initial ideas. Will they all work? I don't know. Probably not all of them. But it's like one of the initial ideas was testing it out with Eversys, because I wanted all the espresso to be uniform. I wanted to be batched, and I wanted to then plumb that batch of espresso into the new Uber Milk Plus, which is kind of an under-the-counter. It's intended as an under-the-counter instantly froth milk system. I think we can also experiment with espresso through it now, which is kind of fun. So I'm just going to try to put espresso through that machine. And that's what I haven't actually tested yet. So I don't know how it's going to be, but I have tried espresso out of the Eversys. My initial concern with Eversys was that those type of machines are only seen in 7-Eleven, in Woolies, Kohl's, and these kind of fast-paced places where the coffee is like $1 or $2, and it's terrible. It's terrible. Even at trade shows, like when they actually have the machines, they're not using amazing coffee, and it's not perfectly dialed in. So it's like average. But I'm like, this has to be the future if we're going to eliminate the pump. So I want to commit to this, but I need to see if it's going to work. So I went to Brewtech here in Sydney at the La Marzocco headquarters, and I just had Ferris there, and he was so generous with his time. And I was like, I need to try these beans. These are the beans we're going to use in the cafe. I know what they taste like. They're going to be amazing. And it's the Axel Coffee seasonal blend. And it's so good. One of the best milkies I've had in Australia. And I'm like, I need to know it can taste just as good out of the Eversys as my Synesso Hydra MVP. And so we tried it. And within 2 or 3 shots, it was tasting better than it's ever tasted out of my Synesso. And I was shook. I couldn't believe it. I thought if we could just get it to almost par, then I'll be satisfied. But we blew the roof off with it. And not me, Ferris, but it was unbelievable. And it showed what this machine can actually do when you have great coffee and you're dialing it in and really caring about the result. So that was exciting. So I'm like, okay, Eversys can work. Then I'm like, I need a dispenser. So then Uber Milk, popped into my head. I was also thinking of like 6 Simple Machines, which does those batch taps. I initially tried out those like a year ago. They were more or less working, but then after talking with a few people, they're like, oh, you should probably try, the Uber Milk Plus that's coming out too, if you just get it all in one unit then. So that I went and tried out their coffee concentrate and their milk at the last Mice in Melbourne, and the coffee was okay, not great.
How nice he's being when we chat on the phone the other day. It was like the coffee was terrible.
Okay, look,
I'm throwing him under the bus there.
No, it's all good.
But the milk was amazing. And I was like, well, with the right beans, I think this could be an absolute winner. So the idea is that we'll pre-batch the espresso and then plumb it into the Uber Milk. But yes, so how do we keep all those aromatic volatile compounds from escaping? Those things that add bitterness and other undesirable attributes to the coffee. How do we keep those in or keep the coffee tasting great? And so I think one of my ideas is we're going to do like a brew through lid. So like it's like that tiny hole where the coffee would just kind of go right through. And so as it kind of steams up and evaporates, it kind of keeps it all within the jar, keeping it as hot as possible. And then as soon as it's done, put a lid on it, airtight. Maybe even I'll find a way to like vacuum seal a larger jar that we end up storing it in. I don't know. These are just future tests. And so the idea, though, is to keep as much oxygen out until it's ready to use. And then when it's ready to use, to find a lid of some sort that will, again, keep as much oxygen out. You can't keep 100% out at that point, but, just keep it as fresh as long as possible. But here's the thing. In my tests in the past, I would just brew espresso, put it in a glass jar, screw it up, and leave it, behind the counter. I did it for 1 day. I did it for 2 days. Did it for up to 7 days. And then I would compare it in a blind taste test with a fresh espresso. And the thing was, actually preferred, and some of the people who were trying it as well, everyone preferred the pre-batched espresso over the fresh espresso when it came to milk-based beverages. And the reason was it homogenized better. It all mixed in more evenly together. And it didn't have a bit of the bitterness from the crema because the crema was gone. So it was actually just really incredible to have this like moment of discovery, like, oh, pre-batch not only can taste as good, but it can taste even better in a milk-based drink.
Oh, hot takes are coming in early. He's just hitting us with this one. So live on the pod, he's saying pre-batched espresso tastes better than freshly pulled espresso and mixed with milk. Amen.
Well, look, and there's qualifiers to that, of course. Like it's got to be in a you can't just have it sitting on the counter for 7 days in just an open cup, but if you're airtight, a little jar or something, 100%.
Yeah.
And I reckon you could even go a year. I haven't tried it, but I am like from day one, I'm going to pull an espresso at the cafe. I'm going to put it somewhere in the kitchen or something.
But you need to make it like framed. You need to put it like somewhere where it's like, if you're doing it, this is a test, be like, this is the day one espresso.
This is the
espresso we pulled on day one of opening the cafe. And then have the same blend that you can pull a year later to do a side-by-side comparison.
You got to get the photo.
The photo.
The time capsule photo.
With the newspaper next to it.
Proof of life.
I know we're way past this, but I just quickly want to put a pin and jump back to the Eversys and the Uber Milk. For those listening who aren't aware, Eversys is kind of like the king of automated espresso machines, right? But as you mentioned, a lot of them are in Coles and 7-Elevens and that kind of thing. But basically, this is the espresso machine that makes the full coffee for you as good as a barista, or as you're saying here, maybe even better in some cases, or definitely more consistently. Yeah.
And the Eversys was heavily popularized by the Blank Street model as well. So if anybody overseas wants to check out an Eversys coffee, you can go to Blank Street as well. Roland and I, we've had quite a bit of fun with the Eversys machines over the years now. I don't know, Chris, you and I have been talking about trying to get to do some work with them as well. And I think this is a great proof of concept. I do love that your name is beta by name and you're beta by nature. You're like, I don't even know if this is going to work, but I'm doing it day one through the Uber Milk. I love it. I think it's amazing.
Can I just get a quick clarification? I just want to understand the workflow of the cafe, right? So you've got Eversys set up on the bar. Are you going to have your Espresso there as well, or just the Eversys?
Yes, it's my backup plan.
Okay, backup. Oh, there you go. If you're going to be a beta guy, then you got to definitely have a backup plan when you do things. So you've got the Eversys. Let's say you go in the morning and just be like, pump out 500 shots of espresso. It's basically just going to run by itself, no person manning it, and it will just pour that into a airlocked vat, you're saying? And then... Or like really, like ideally, I know it's a test, but let's say ideally.
Yes, ideally, sure.
And then that is plumbed into an Uber Milk Plus, which has a tube in it that can dispense other concentrates, but you'll be having it dispense espresso.
Yeah.
And that same thing, the Uber Milk Plus is basically, think of it as like a digital beer tap, but for steamed milk. So it can spit out steamed dairy alternatives. And you'll also have espresso. So basically, if someone orders a latte, someone will just stand next to the Uber Milk, click the espresso button. It's going to spit out however many mil of espresso into the cup. Then they'll click the milk button. It'll spit out steamed milk into a jug, and then you just pour it and it's done. I mean, you could have the customer pouring their own coffee if they wanted.
I actually intend to.
Oh, there you go. And that's so much fun. Imagine how good it will be.
Like, not that the customers have to, but like if it's kind of a moment everyone's chilling, a customer comes in, and they're like, what's this? I start asking questions. I'm like, well, come around, pull a shot.
Oh my God.
It's so fun.
Is so cool. And there's an old theory that I always bring up where they did like a test where they got people to build IKEA furniture. And another group of people were just given IKEA furniture without building it. The people who got given it, they said, place a value on this stool. And they were like, $20, $15. And then to the people who had to make the stool, they said, how much is this stool worth? And they're like, oh, like $80, $100. And because they were just a part of it, there was more value. Man, if I'm pouring my own coffee and then drinking it, I tell you what, it's probably going to taste a lot better.
$80, $100.
$100. Exactly. That's what you could be charging. Now, one thing, I think you're being very humble as we talk, where you're like, oh, I don't know. And granted, that's what's great about the cafe. You don't know. But you have done the research, you have tested out the emphasis, you have pre-batched the espresso. And as we mentioned earlier, you did Q grading with Ben. So you have all of the sensory skills lined up. Do you think that kind of thing gives you a bit of a leg up where you're not just some random guy trying this? You know what coffee should taste like. And do you think that kind of helps out in this experiment?
Look, on a technical level, yes. 100%. It definitely helps. I mean, coffee is still subjective on most levels. So it's like, do I know? But I know what I want it to taste like, and I know what I like, and so I'm using that as my measure. But yeah, absolutely. Like I think all these my years in the industry, all the lessons from Ben in the Q Grader course, like all these things have really helped and definitely give me an advantage.
So you've got an Eversys fully automated. You've got your Synesso on the bar. The question is, fully automated espresso machine versus manual espresso machine. Which one makes a better coffee?
Look, let me, better is subjective, but let me put it this way. You won't be able to get as consistent manually as you would with an automated machine. Subjectively, if I may, I would like to say that the automatic actually tastes better.
There you go. And for those not watching along on YouTube on the reels here, there was a full spin in a swivelly chair to camera there when he delivered that point. And I am just shook. That was beautiful. The man can spin.
Very dramatic. It was amazing. Hey, Chris, a couple of things that I'd like to know is you're obviously setting up this cafe from scratch. Sounds like you're gutting a house, redoing everything, and luckily it came with a commercial kitchen. The question for me is, like, let's just say I'm an average person and I'm looking at your setup. How much? And it might be a dirty question. You don't have to answer it, but I could also Google it, I guess. How much does the machinery cost for a fully automated cafe like yours? Like a full system, bottom up, including the plumbing, including all the extras that you had to go to make it work and run?
Yeah. Look, fit outs in general are insane, but I'm putting those numbers aside. Let's just say, if you're frugal, you could, you might Synesso second hand. Let's ballpark it around like 60, 70.
A lot of coffees.
1,000. Yeah.
60, 70
yeah, it is.
Dollars?
That's
dollars?
AUD. Yeah, that's AUD.
No, look,
or
don't take those
USD?
figures, precisely. But, look, roughly.
And that's fair enough when you look at it and how much it eases the congestion of staff over those periods. Like you're saying.
And not just eases the congestion, it's like that's about a year salary for, a casual employee. But this is like you pay it once and it's done. And employees, their salaries every year. So the first year it's gonna be tight.
So we've kind of talked about all the ideas that had to come to life to start building this cafe. But a few days out from opening, can I ask you, what have the challenges been when you've never done this before? Like, what are the biggest things that have been roadblocks for you?
Okay, I've been running cafes for other people for 20 years. So running a cafe, no problem. Building one is something so different entirely. And I was like, I knew there'd be challenges, hurdles, but I was like, I can handle it. There is no way I can handle doing like an actual renovation like that. It was so beyond. I've never done one before, but here's the secret. This could not have happened without my wife, Jess. She has her own interior design company, Chris Maybury Interiors, and she handled the entire fit out. And just the hurdles that we came up against doing it in an aging, dilapidated house. And we thought, let's just put up some new drywall and we'll call it good. Easy. Every time we took down a piece of drywall, there's a disaster behind it. Whether it was just the drywall was rotting, water was seeping down through the walls. No had ever waterproofed the house. Oh, gee. And like we took down some more drywall. Oh, there's a hole in the brickwork and bricks are falling. Well, that's not good. And it's a supporting wall. So just like you name it, it happened. And there's no way. Like I'm a sucker when it comes to dealing with trades. They'd be like, "Oh, Mike, this is no good. We're going to fix that." And I'd be like, "Okay." And they'd be like, "It's X amount." I'd be like, "Okay." Yeah, but my wife,
$10,000 for a new plug? Sure.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I'm just not my world. But she'll go in there and she'll be like, "Mate, the paint job's not good enough. Do it again." Yeah, and she is like so good. Like she's like prodigy level. I'm probably a little biased, but honestly, ask any of her clients. Like she's insane. So there's no way this would have happened without her. Now, if other people are like, "Well, I want to start my own cafe and I don't have an interior designer wife who's the best in Sydney," what do? I would say, don't get a place that you have to fit out. Just go into an existing one, be okay with their fit out, and just start up. And that will be cheap. It will be easy, and make a few cosmetic modifications, paint the wall, no problem. But like if you actually want to do a renovation, it's a whole nother beast. And if you've never done them before, like, and you don't have someone who can help you with that, oh man. Or look, if you got cash too, if you're cashed up, then yeah, go for it. Millions of dollars, you can hire anyone.
Having an amazing person that can help with the fit out. There's probably a lot of people who don't have the money to do that and take a place like that and are just screwed from the get-go, and there's no way that they could probably even open the doors,
yes,
half the
I
time.
would have been screwed from the get-go.
Yeah.
100%.
I think the biggest lesson here, and it's not about opening a cafe, it's to all the fellas out there. If you're going to be talking about your partner on a live pod, take some lessons from this man. That is how you big up your partner and show love. That was great. What was the name again of the...
Her design company is called Chris Maybury Interiors.
Well, there you go. If you're a cafe owner in Australia, then anyway, really, give them a call.
Yeah.
All right. So we've covered the housing. You've covered how you're going to build it. You've covered the systems. Then there comes the most crucial part, which is staff. Yeah. And what your system is imploring or hoping for is not so much baristas. You're looking at people that are people first. How do you go about hiring these people before you open? And then is there a training sort of program? I know you've run cafes in the past, but you've run them in the older model and you've got a new model here. So what are you trying to provide with these new staff? How do you do it all?
Yeah. So look, I would say yes and no to that. I am trying to hire people who are people first, but I am also trying to hire baristas. Like part of hospitality, okay, for example, if you go into a cafe and you're like, "What's good? What do you have? What's this coffee?" And no one knows, it doesn't feel like amazing hospitality, even if they're super nice. "Oh, sorry, I don't know what we're serving. I don't know where this is from. You're like, "Oh, you don't know anything about any of your products." But at least you have a nice smile. "Thank you so much. I probably won't come back." So like, I still want baristas. We still need baristas. We need people who are passionate about coffee, who have a hunger to learn. But what's amazing is it lowers the bar from you have to have all the knowledge before you come on in order to be hired. Now it's like, man, if you're amazing with people, that's the minimum. And then you have to be hungry to learn. And if you're hungry to learn, like we've got all the resources available for you. Like, look, we got It's Just Coffee podcast. We've got Hoffman, and we've got Lance, and we've got all the guys. We got Kirk. We've got like everyone. Like we get so many resources online. The Barista Hustle, Pergs. There's so many resources to learn. And so if you're hungry, you can be a world barista. Like honestly, we're barista champion. Like if you have that hunger and that drive, anyone can learn that if they're driven, if they're hungry enough. But not everyone has that innate hospitality, in them, where their desire to longing to connect with someone it's natural. It comes out, Yeah. So I think like that. That's what I'm looking for, is someone who has a hunger to learn about the knowledge, but they don't have to have the knowledge of how to pull it all right away, because other people who are there can dial it in, and then it's just a push button, which is so fun. So it lowers the bar for people who are really incredible and really hungry, but maybe don't have the years in coffee.
And I would say that like if I look back to some of our older cafe experiences, with the hustle of how fast it was, there were the people who were amazing people persons. person peoples.
Person peoples.
And they'd almost get in trouble for having a talk and connecting with the customer because we were so busy and you were doing that. But in this new model, it's like, no, take the time to connect with the customer. Obviously, read the room if it's going crazy, but the ability to connect with the customers is going to be the thing that will leave that everlasting impression for them in the cafe.
Well, that's right, Rowan. And here's like what I've been telling the people that I've been interviewing is I go, I'm literally paying you to, when you take a coffee, have a conversation. Like the automation is there to back me up when you're connecting with someone. But I'm literally, your job description is to connect with people. Like where at every other cafe, like especially the ones I've worked at in the past, where it's like high pump, I get in trouble when I go and try to talk to someone, have a moment, even just explain what coffee they're having and a little bit about the farm, like whatever. But yeah, in this model, connect and see how they're going and share about the coffee and share where it's from and highlight the producer and all the hard work that went into it. And like you have time. I'm paying you to have time. The automation is what's going to back me up on that while you're having that moment.
We've talked about the staff. Now let's look at the consumer coming into it. So I would say, unfortunately, the average consumer wants to pay $4, $4.50 for a coffee. And with this impossible goal, a lot of people have been turning to automation to try to reach those lower kind of thresholds. Is this something that you're aiming to do in your cafe, or are you pushing for something more?
I'm pushing for something different, Ron. No, I will not have a $4 coffee. Although I had this idea for like little tasters, so maybe those could be $4. But the idea is like I'm actually increasing quality, I'm increasing connection, I'm increasing experiences that people can have in the cafe. And so the price is actually going to increase as well to match the quality of the product and the quality of the people and the quality of the experiences. And so I think also like people who come and taste and see will be willing to pay. Like there's people who just don't value a connection in the coffee shop. That's okay. There's people who don't value a higher quality cup based on these tasting notes and this profile. I just want some hot that's caffeine. All good. There are so many places in Sydney for those experiences, and that's fine. But we want to set ourselves apart and say, this is a place for connection and experiences and moments. And we're using like the best products we can find with the best people we can hire. And so, no, it's not going to be $4, Ron. In fact, I'm having this wrestle right now because like I want to see cafes push their prices even higher, who are doing a really good job, who have really good products. But it's scary as a cafe owner because like when your prices go up, you think your customers will go away. But I think if you're doing a really good job, and you've got a name kind of for yourself, even up $1, you won't lose most of your customers. People see the value. And I think that's the majority of people. So I really, like, I'm going to be starting at 6 for a small, but I want to start at $6.50. I want to start at 7. I'm scared. And I want to, like, half me wants to be like the sacrificial lamb and just be like, I'm going to go first. And so all my friends who have cafes that are struggling, they can, well, hey, we're all doing it together, But then I'm like, but also no one knows me yet. It's my first cafe. So I'm so scared to start at $7 for a small coffee, right? So I think I'll meet somewhere in the middle of my fear and where it needs to be and just do like $6. So
well, bravo, because I think, that's where the conversation needs to move and we stop to trying to push it lower. We need to support each other as the industry and make it okay for that number to be a little higher. So I agree. I think $7 is kind of just the average of where it should be.
Isn't that like a matcha these days?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so
like any matcha, any grade?
Yeah, any grade, whatever it is, out of a pre-whisk, get it going. I mean, there you go. You're going to have a different matcha tap going on there.
Well, look, you got to have matcha these days. And with Kirk, shouting from the rooftops, I think, everyone's got to have matcha, if not strawberry matcha.
Yeah, but as I was saying, I just think that's the right kind of conversation. And I think also changing not only the conversation around the cost of coffee, but the conversation around automated machines and moving it forward. Because as you said, the emphasis is seen as kind of like the coffee made for cheap,
the loss
cheap
leader.
Place, the loss leader,
Yes.
whereas it shouldn't be, because I've seen the statistics from some of the best cafes in Melbourne where they've had, what is it called? Is it Flow or?
Yeah, the telemetry thing.
Yeah, connected to the system. And basically it gives you data on all the shops, on all the shots that are being pulled. And the best cafes in Australia are still working at like 60% efficiency or 60% quality on their shots of being within the range of what they should be dialing it in. So your shots are going to be way more consistent. The quality will be higher and you're going to be getting it with better service and probably quicker, it sounds like as well. So I think all
10-second latte. 10-second latte.
10-second latte. That's a hat right there. I'll wear that hat if you get it made for me. 10-second latte.
Hey, Chris, I really admire all the virtues that you're putting out there and the idea and, you being the sacrificial lamb to bring up the price. You don't have to elaborate on this at all, but I'd love to know, what do you estimated profit margins on your fully automated cafe, given that the average profit margin in Australia on a cafe sits around that 3.7% mark?
This is just a test. If I can start at those margins, I will be happy. And then we can just go from there. I really don't know how people are going to respond. So guessing, estimating profit margins, it's like, I don't know how people are going to respond to this. This is either going to be a raging success that changes the industry forever, or it's going to be an epic fail. So stick around for both. Both are entertaining.
We'll be getting you back on the pod in 6 months to see if Beta is burned to the ground or it's the shining beacon of Australian coffee.
That's it.
I guess the question from that is, it feels like here that it's all really for the love of the coffee and kind of pushing it further, as opposed to creating maybe a cafe model that can be like, look, guys, we can actually make this profitable again. Would you say it's that more love side first?
Look, it's all love. A large part is a love from my fellow cafe owners. Like, we've got such a tight-knit community here in Sydney of coffee and hospital workers and even just home enthusiasts. Just like, there's a group of enthusiasts that are like over 300 in a group chat called Spro Bros. Like, these guys are insane, bigger into coffee nerds than I am. But there's so many people who are doing it really tough that are incredible. And I actually want to make it financially viable for them. So part of the idea with the automation is that it can eliminate the need for 1 to 2 staff members. And again, I'm not trying to be like, we don't need staff, let's automate everything so there's no people. No, the point is we need people. But if your cafe isn't making money because you can't afford staff, like, this is a solution. And so I really want the staff to be there, to be free to connect. But also I want the cafe owners to be able to be profitable and not have to hire, have 5, 6 staff on, and maybe you only have 3 or 4. And that even just at 3 or 4 at, 65, 70,000 a year, like, that's huge. That's huge. So I really am hoping for both. But it's for the love of the cafe owners that I want them to be profitable, and it's for the love of the customers and love of coffee, for it's consistent, its quality is fast. Yeah. Anyway.
Now, it sounds like the dream job. How many job applications do you reckon he's getting off the back of this podcast? He sold it pretty well. I'd be diving into that. Now, for our listeners that, you're someone that's kind of built this from the ground up. We talked about, if you don't have the money to take a decrepit place and fix it up, then start with somewhere new. But outside of that, is there any other advice that you'd have for a budding entrepreneur wanting to start their own venture in coffee from what you've learned over this time?
Look, I haven't opened the cafe yet, so I am so not qualified to speak into, well, if you want to own a cafe, here's 5 things. Like, I don't know, but I'm going to try a bunch of stuff and we'll see how it goes. But here's what I would say. I've had this dream for 10 years. And, okay, now I'm going to start a cafe. Oh, this happens, or this got in the way, or life situation, or, like, I was living in LA before I moved to Australia, and I was like, just close to jump in. And then moved to Australia, and I'm like, okay, I need some time to make industry connections and get to know the culture, and then just the money wasn't there. Then COVID, then, every life just happens. But there's just been this dream in my heart for 10 years, and I could see it. And like, I would not literally at night dream, but like, well, sometimes, but mostly like daydream about this cafe, like, every day. And I could see it so clearly. And every time there would be like an issue at a cafe where it's like, drinks are taking too long, No one's able to really focus on the customer. These shots are off, and there's nothing we can do because they're pumping them. Like all these moments would just collect in this vision, and I would just keep tweaking the vision in my head for 10 years. And so this cafe is an expression of 10 years of just like emotional perseverance. And, so I think that's a message I can speak into. And it's like, man, if there's a dream in your heart, like don't give up, but also don't rush it either. Like there's going to be a time and a place and a season, and all the waiting, as freaking hard as it has been and as it can be, like have added to the collective vision of what it's going to be. Like all the trials, all the tribulations, all the hardship. Like I'm like, it helped me find the actual cafe that I wanted to make. If that makes sense.
That makes total. That makes total sense.
Hang in there.
No, I think what it comes down to at the moment is the world is starved of unique offerings, and what you're producing here sounds incredibly unique. It sounds incredibly considered, and it's authentic to you. And so with that, I wish you all the greatest success, and I think you're going to have great success. For you, like, how would you measure success in the next 3 months, 5 years, 10 years? And also, like, what do you think pre-batch espresso and automation looks like within that time frame for you?
Really, I would love to have a place where, again, it's a platform to empower others. In 5 to 10 years, I would love to be like, so-and-so has this killer bakery. They started it in our kitchen, And so-and-so, who's this amazing artist, had her first show in the back of our cafe in the garage. And so-and-so, who was one of our first hires, they've opened their own cafe. And it's been incredible to watch. Like, I want to, but everyone going out with the vision of connection, of hospitality. I don't know if you guys have read or heard the book Unreasonable Hospitality, but like it gave a language to everything that was in my heart. And so that ethos of just like unreasonable hospitality going out into the world, like I would love just to spread, like see that happen, whether I'm directly involved in each of those ventures or I am just cheering them on. But what I'm trying to set up is an ethos and even just ideas for how you can practically set up cafes, practically set up bakeries, practically set up, or how artists can form a collective and display their art. We like all these kind of things that could come out of it. I just want to be this platform that spreads the love of hospitality, the love of people out into all the areas of Sydney and then the world. So
that's beautiful. I love that. That's moving. I am just like, tell me more about pre-batched espresso. But if I'm asking more about pre-batched espresso,
please do.
I'm not crying. You are.
Yeah, I know. He's a motivational speaker. He gets me going.
Really
this is great. No, I was just wanting to ask, like, what's the thoughts with pre-batched espresso? You're telling me that you're putting it into bottles, airtight, kind of sealed off. That makes me feel like, well, you could just sell a bottle of that to a customer for them to take home. And in the world of accessibility and affordability, is that something you're wanting to push into, kind of pre-batched and sold espresso? I know there's like 9 Bar over in California now. They have some giant patented machine that kind of pumps out pre-batched espresso. But from your model, is this something you see could be bigger, maybe even, on a supermarket shelf, or is it always going to be from your shelves?
Look, it'll start on our shelves and we'll see where it ends up. The world is our oyster. And that's what's so fun about beta and beta testing and just bringing everyone's ideas together. It's not going to be just my ideas. It's going to be everyone's coming together, getting pooled. The rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing. But yes, with pre-batch espresso, we're going to have like little, again, we'll try it, little bottles of maybe 10 shots that you can buy and take home. And then you can, add your milk. And what's fun also, maybe we can have little like the kind of milk that we use and say, here's exactly the mills and the recipe and ratio. So you can make the exact coffee at home. That could be fun. We also have an RO system with a remineralization system. And so we would love to even sell our water that we have in shop that for our pour overs and our black coffee. Then have you can actually have, here's our beans that you had at the shop. You loved, got them from a retail shelf from a plethora of international and national roasters. And then here's a recipe and here's our water to make it. So you actually literally replicate what you had at the shop at home. So fun.
Great.
You need to sell is it the NanoFoam Lithium or the NanoFoamer Pro? Have you seen those? It's like the handheld, so it's a milk foamer, but it's like a whisk, but they've got like a patented dash patented. Jesus, take that. It's got like it's got a fine mesh screen on it, like a hand whisk, but the hand foamer can actually make milk silky enough for like latte art. So if you're saying that you can sell, pre-batched espresso from a bottle, I'm like, man, pull out one of these little hand foamers and you got like an amazing cafe. You could take that camping.
Why not? Easy.
I need to get a bottle of this stuff down. Next time you're in Melbourne, come by and we'll film some videos on Golden Brown. I want to do some experements.
Let's do it.
I've got better news. I've got better news. We're up in Sydney in October, so we can definitely stop in.
There you go.
Come on by.
Things are starting to get a bit spicy in here, like really hot in here.
It'd be so hot, man.
Are you hot there?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Just get stuck.
Oh, sorry. He's got to have a drink of water. I think it's time for an extra hot take with 2 sugars.
Oh.
Can we get a redo on the sound effect? No pineapple. Play it again. I'm still caught off by the patented thing.
Slap.
All right. Well, let's always give the floor to the guest first. Please, do you have a little spicy hot number for us?
I do. And I'll add emphasis by a spin.
Oh, here we go. He's spinning. Oh.
There are no wanky coffee orders. There's only wanky people.
Elaborate, please.
I think people are entitled to have whatever coffee they want. Extra hot, soy, camel milk, whatever you want. But if they come in and say it like, hey, can I have this? It'd be amazing if you could do that. Thank you. I'm overjoyed to make whatever they want. It's not a problem. Even if I don't prefer that drink and I wouldn't recommend that drink, if they're into it, and they say it with a smile, like, I am so happy and delighted to make it for you. But if someone says, comes in and says, like, give me like the most expensive coffee you've got, I'm good for it. Or I know what's up. Like, I'm like, wanker. It's the attitude. It's not the drink.
Absolutely. I mean, and going off, it's actually a funny thing, the annoyance with those orders you're talking about. Some of it is based in wank, like the amount of people that will comment like the only coffee is black coffee. If anything else, you're like, there's that side of people. And then there are also baristas that just hate it. But let's be honest, they hate it because it makes their life that much harder. But with this full automation system, gone are the days of being worried about extra hot or what milk it is. If it's all automated, you don't care. Just whip them out and away you go.
Yeah. And with hospitality at the forefront, it's our pleasure to serve you a drink that you love.
There you go. I love that.
Can I go next on the hot take?
Yeah.
Because I think that bleeds into what Chris just said. Look, I had a different hot take, and then sitting here with you, Chris, kind of reminded me a lot about why cafes exist, yeah? My hot take is if hospitality is not the core of what you're trying to do or achieve with a cafe, you could get out, because that's the most important thing that you could possibly do. If you're not looking to put a smile on someone's face, you've completely missed the boat 100%. And Chris, you and what you're trying to achieve is exactly what I want to go when I go to a cafe.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Oh, my God. That was beautiful and well said. Sonam Sherpa with the words of wisdom. If you don't want hospitality, get the hell out. I am not going to be hospitable about your hot take and you being in hospitality.
Hated that.
I'd take more like a warm embrace.
Patton, sorry.
More like a warm embrace, so thank you.
All right, my hot take is the best coffee machines in the world are making the worst coffee in the world.
Ooh.
Eversys automated machines are at some of the worst places serving some of the worst coffee. But what people don't know is these machines will dial in specialty coffee better than most baristas on a manual machine. We need to start having cafes like the cafe opening right here, Beta Coffee, that are putting amazing coffee through them and showing the world what an Eversys automated machine can do, not only for coffee, but for the hospitality industry as a whole.
That's right. 100%. Yay.
Well, we all really agreed with each other's hot takes here. Normally, we're just all on the same page here. Normally, it's like wrong. Wait, do I need to come up with a hot take just to get people fired up?
I'm having too good of a time. Let's not ruin it.
Colombia, as a country with the coffee, get rid of it. It's terrible. Thoughts? That hurt so much it took his breath away.
Carlos, Rowan was saying some stuff.
No, don't get a hit on me. Oh my God. All right. We've gone from hot takes and now we've got a new little segment here that goes into, we've talked about being hospitable. We've talked about being kind. I want to give you the moment and a platform here to give a shout out to someone in the coffee industry, maybe unsung, that you think is doing an amazing job. So here, you have the floor. Who is your shout out for?
Oh, I love that. And look, I'm gonna divide my shout out.
I didn't say you could do that.
I didn't say I cared. So I want to shout you guys out and all the coffee podcasters out there who are just making this content. You are producing a form of content and a form of information that we can't give in a cafe. Like, people don't have an hour. Most people don't have an hour. Some people, but most people don't have an hour to sit down and hear all about this new technique or this thing or this hospitality thing or this thing in coffee or this coffee professional. And having you guys and those like you as a resource for on their commute into the cafe, they can have you in their ear. They learn all about the coffee that they're about to taste. And then they come in and they can have a quick little 5-minute little chat with the barista. They're knowledged up. They're ready to go. So I think what you guys and everyone else in the coffee podcast world is doing is incredible. But also, the last shop I worked at was the Only Coffee Project. And I worked specifically in North Sydney, at our location at Victoria Cross. And I had two of the best staff I've ever worked with in my entire life. I've worked, all staff are amazing. I love everyone I've ever worked with. But these two stood out. Leah and Teddy are just two of the best staff I've ever worked with. It was almost like they were so kind, so hospitable, but Teddy would keep me organized in the most, I would forget this and that. And he would just subtly doing it behind my back, just helping me out, And then Leah, I would be pouring oat milk. And then as it would run out, I'd feel the bottle being taken out of my hand and a new one being put in. She just had this awareness of everything. And she would just take care of it was like a dance. It was unbelievable. And so I just shout out to Leah and Teddy.
Leah and Teddy, amazing work. You're the type of people that keep the hospitality industry running.
I look forward to seeing you working at Beta Cafe in a few months.
Yeah. Now, you just showed us some love talking about podcasts, Leah and Teddy. But now back on you, because I tell you what, regardless of what happens at this cafe, I'm curious, and I bet you're going to have a line of people who are going to be curious as well, wanting to check it out. Give us the name, give us the opening dates. Where can people find you?
So Beta Coffee, 76 Devonshire Street, Surrey Hills, Sydney, Australia. On the socials, I am so inadequate when it comes to social media. I just have a little Instagram, and I think I may have accidentally made a Facebook page as well. So it's beta, BETA _coffee on the socials. And if you type it into Facebook and it comes up, that's great. And maybe you guys can help me when you come in with the TikToks. Too scared to go there at the moment.
Just do it. It's a test, man. That's what TikTok is. TikTok is more than anything just a place to test. So literally just chuck a phone up and just go for it, man.
Okay, fantastic. Well, TikTok coming soon.
When we're up in October, we'll give you a little rundown on all the things you could be doing.
Thank you.
To kind of open that up.
I need the senseis to come.
And
opening dates. So 2 months ago, I just talked with some of the guys in the Spro Bros group chat. I'm like, I would love to have a big launch event on the 31st of July. Let's just do it. And that was before I looked behind the drywall. So it has been so crazy racing for this deadline of the 31st of July, where we're going to have a launch party. And then I had just put it out there in one of the videos, the 1st of August, then we'll be open. Very super soft, ultra soft, incredibly soft open, where half the restaurant is probably still going to be under construction. But we have a coffee machine and we can make a coffee. So for 2 weeks, August 1 to 14, super soft opening. Then mid to late August, we'll have a grand opening, and then we'll go from there.
I'd want to be one of the first customers. If I was up there, I'd make that soft launch not so soft. And well, that sounded terrible. Well, let's make it a hard launch. Anyway, what was I going to say? I was going to say, I often say at the end of the pod, if you're listening in and you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, sorry, I can't speak, make sure to subscribe because we're trying to put together the best coffee pod. But I'm going to say, while you're also doing that on your phone, make sure to add Beta Coffee to your Google Maps, chuck them on Instagram and get down there and check it out. Chris, thank you so much for joining us on today's
Thanks for having me,
podcast.
guys.
Definitely, I'm going to pencil it in right now. What are we doing? Like a 6-month review, coming back and seeing what Beta Coffee is?
I reckon we even just do a quick half an hour when we're up there at the cafe.
Oh, yeah,
and just
that's a
run
great
through
idea.
it. Give people a look. We want you to be able to platform what you're doing and share it with the community around the world because this doesn't just benefit Australians. You know, this is a global phenomenon. What you're trying to pull off here.
Yeah. If it works, it will reach the world.
Agreed.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
it was
guys.
an absolute pleasure. I'm done. I'm done for the day. I can't speak. Make sure to hit us up on the email at hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com and hit us on the socials. It's Just Coffee Podcast or something like that. You'll find it if you type it in. We love you. And then, Sonam, you told me that Ben texted you a message that he wanted to say at the end of this pod. Can you remind me what that was?
Yeah, he's really upset, Chris. Could you please take down that Google review of the Q grading course that you did with him, please?
Ooh, savage. Bye.
Just tell him that if he had passed me the first time, that wouldn't have happened.
Very good. Very quick.